Felicia, now that you all in, Sarah, if you all can manage to chat for questions, that would be great.
Yes, I certainly will. Did you? I apologize. I was coming from another meeting and couldn't get off. Did you already reviewed with everyone to put their questions in the chat instead of coming off
Yes.
mute? Okay,
Mhm.
awesome. I will man the chat.
Thank you. So again, as I said before, I'm not going to go over the overview of what Jiva is, dashboards, because hopefully you all have had that training. I'm just here to show you how to enter stars or episodes is what we call in Jiva. So at your dashboard, to enter a SAR or episode, what we call in Jiva, you will have to go to your menu button, and then you will have to go through member search. Um, And then once you go to member search, you can search your member through many different avenues. Their last name, first name, date of birth, their Jiva member ID, episode ID, SAR number or cert number. Today I'm gonna do it through episode ID. So however by their name, if you know their alpha ID, you can search for that as well. But again, we're going to do episode ID. When you search your member, I thought they want us to use 20. Oh, okay, it's on the member. So you'll pull up your member. Right now we're working with Pamela Taylor, and we want to enter innovation episode. So how you do that is add an episode. It's going to be on your right hand side, add episode. So you'll click that and a box will come open, and it's going to ask you what type of episode do you want? Behavioral health inpatient, behavioral health outpatient. These other ones we are not worried. This is going to be for physical health, so don't worry about any one of those. We are only working in behavioral health. And of course, we're not in a hospital, so you're going to be picking behavioral health outpatient. So when you click behavioral health outpatient, this is a little box to just let me know that I've been working in Jiva, that we have already submitted a SAR within 24 hours. So that will help you know, like if you say, did I submit that? Something was funny with Alpha sometimes when you're not sure if it went through or not. Well, if you get this box, then that will probably tell you that you have already submitted that episode. So yes, we do want to continue because we want a new episode. Right here, when you click on that, it's going to show you some of the recent episodes that's been submitted for this client. And like I said, I've been working in Jiva, so it looks like we've been doing a lot of stuff with Pamela. But start entering a episode of SAR, you're going to go down to episode details. This is where it begins. Your requested date and time is always pre-stamped because we're sending it in today. Anything that has a red asterisk is where you have to put information in. The source, you don't have to put a source, but if you do, here's some drop down options. Like if the member came from or was referred by agency or anything like that, you can put that in. The request type is going to tell you is if it's an initial, which is pre-certification, it's an initial. If it's a concurrent, that's our reauthorization. And or if it's a retrospective, those are ones that those are the back dates. If Medicaid was the issue, then you'll click that. Today we're going to do, for now, we're going to do an initial, which is pre-certification. And pre-certification for innovation is going to be a standard. The only thing that's expedited if it's something like in the hospital or inpatient. Once you click standard, it'll automatically let us know that we have 14 days, have 14 days to review and process this episode. Then you want to assign this case. Now, we are not assigning this case to when you're submitting or requesting authorization. You're not assigning this case to any individual. I know you might have your favorite innovation reviewer, but that's not how you're going to assign. You're going to assign your case to the Behavioral Health Outpatient IDD Innovations Work List. So this is where you will assign all of your requests. Your the Felicia, who is the innovation manager, deputy manager, will be assigning those out. So again, you're just assigning them to the work list, innovation work list. Reason for request is treatment. So we have completed the episode detail. We're going to move down to the diagnosis. You will put in your member's diagnosis, and you can look that up if you already know it, like it's, F32, or if it's um I'm sorry, I was in training earlier today. I am on innovation, so let's do moderate. Um, what's a good diagnosis? Moderate.
Intellectual.
Thank you. Thank you. Moderate intellectual
Yeah.
disabilities. If we want to do maybe, um, I'm just gonna put in intellectual and see what comes up. Maybe so once you put one in, you can, a lot of our have dual diagnosis, they have multiple, so you can keep adding diagnosis. You can say mild, you can say they might have attention, like ADHD. It's whatever your, they're diagnosed, you can keep adding. I don't even think it has a limit. So you can change your start date to the date that the CCA when the diagnosis was given. What's important is the whatever is highlighted, whichever the star is highlighted, that's going to tell us that's the primary diagnosis. These little marks here will just let you know if you put in like, oh my, I didn't mean to put in mild. I wanted it to be moderate. So you can take a diagnosis out by uh, this little delete button. So that's entering a diagnosis. Any questions about that so far in the chat room? I just want to, before I continue. We're good, Felicia?
Yeah, the only question is Lindsay just asked, do we need to add all the diagnosis? But I think that's a question for your supervisor, what you need to put
Mhm.
on your episode.
Yeah. And I would definitely say the most, your current ones, yeah. So then once you got have your episode details and your diagnosis, you're gonna save and continue. And once you get to here, you're going to go down. It's going to already be ready for you to put in the providers. And so here you're going to attach providers. And we did this before. Let's see if it is it Lindley? Uh
L-I,
Thank you. Is it Lillan?
Lindley.
Thank you. Let's see what comes up. Hmm.
By CBC.
I'm going to go with
C,
I'm just going to go
C.
with a because I'm not good with you all. I'm sorry, provider. So we just go with a moderate provider. So when you click on a provider, it's going to bring up their sites. So you would need to know where they're servicing, where they're billing. So I'm gonna do Southern Pines, and you're gonna click. These are gonna be all their sites. And if your provider just have one site, you might have a smaller provider, and it's just gonna bring up that site, which will make it easier. I'm just scared that I don't know we've been having trouble with contracts, so I'm trying to see if one of our bigger ones will go through. So when you find the providers at where you're working with, you're gonna click on this little wheel thing is an action wheel. It'll allow you to do things. So we're gonna click this on multiple attach. You're gonna hit it twice. One, and you're gonna hit it again, two. And then you're gonna scroll all the way to the bottom where you attach them. And the reason why we did it twice is we have to put these requests in for you to service, for the provider to be able to serve the member. And we also have to put it in so the provider can bill the service. So one of the roles is going to be servicing, and you have to make sure they're in network. We're hoping when we go live, this will be defaulted to in network. And then your next role will be billing, and that will be in network. So you always have to have a servicing and a billing role for each provider, for your provider. You're going to attach that to your episode. Now, here we have our providers attached. Here, if you see that you made a mistake or there's, oh, wait a minute, that's not the right um, site, you can go in and you can edit if you need to change the service into billing or whatever. If you got two service into billings, you can change that way. If you have to change the location, you will have to deactivate, and it's going to ask you, yes, I do want to deactivate this one, and you'll have to go back in and pull up the provider again. I think we were at Southern Pines, multiple attach, and I think I took out servicing. Let's see. Servicing, in network, attach. Okay. And that way you can edit this before submitting. So I just want to show you now we have a billing and we have a service and they're in network. Once you attach your provider to the episode of SAR, you're going to go down to service requests. Our service type is innovations. And again, the place of service doesn't have to be in, it doesn't have a red asterisk, but if you want to put anything in, there's a lot of things you can put in. It's a drop down. So just say if that service, they're in a group home, you could just click that. Now this is where you have to do the service code type. We work in CPT codes and HCPCS codes. Those are the main two that we'll be working in. If it's a service code that starts with a number, like our outpatient therapy is 90837, or an assessment was that 90719, or then that would be a CPT code. Most of our service definition for you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, Felicia, will start with a letter, and that's probably going to be our HCPCS code.
You're correct. You're correct. Lakeisha, can I stop you before you move on?
Uh-huh.
Can go back to where you was adding the providers and you was
Mm-hmm.
adding on billing and servicing.
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple of questions.
Okay.
My question was, is there any way we can look in Alpha to see what the billing site address is? We have historically only needed to know what the provider site is.
Well, you'll still have access to Alpha. So you still can go in and look at providers network. You can still go into provider network and see what their contracts and stuff is. So that is still going to be available to you guys.
The next question is, how will we know if we pick the correct billing code as the codes do not match the waiver or cost summary?
Now that's something that you're going to talk with your supervisor. I'm just showing you how to submit and do all this technical, what we do with billing and service. That's going to be between you and your supervisor or manager, or how to look what's going to be appropriate. I don't know what's going to be, which is going to be appropriate. I just know you have to have a billing wherever the site is for them that they bill through, and wherever the site that they're going to be providing the service. And it could be the same site, uh, or it could be different. I don't know. That's something that you're going to have to get with your supervisor, or look at their contract and see what that is. I don't have that answer.
And Scott had asked the question about the service codes. Honestly, and maybe also Denise, for your question, IT is the department to ask about that stuff.
Sorry, guys. We're just
I know. We are
trying to
sorry.
walk you. I might not have all your answers because we're just walking you through how to submit something. These technical stuff might have to go to other departments for clarity. Okay, moving on. So your HCPCS, Felicia, give me again this. I used to use the S.
Let's do respite S5150.
And let me just say this: if you pull up like, I'm just gonna take this out, and I'm gonna go back to the C, like, cause it defaults to the CPT code. So say you put in S5150. It's gonna tell you that record. If you get this message saying no record is found, that's probably indicator for you. Oh, I picked on the wrong code type. Let me change it to HitSpits, and then change that, and then put it in and see if it comes up. And like I said, it will, once you start putting it in, it'll come up, and then you have different, just like Alpha, it'll come up. And so whichever one you need to put in, we're just going to do respite. You'll just click it in, and then you'll go in and do the number of units that you need for respite. I'm going to say 30 daily, because I'm going to say they need it. I'm saying you all know what y'all usually put in for respite. I'm just going to say 30. And we're going to start that today. And then we're going to, however your respite end date is, I'm just going to give it a year. Because most of y'all stuff is a year out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to say they get 30 units for a year. And like, again, this could be different. It's just, you stick with the service definition, what you all do. And then once you have your information in, you're going to add that service. And the reason why you add that service, okay, I keep forgetting we can do it. Once you add that service, the reason why we add it is because you might want to put in another request. Say they get respite, and say they also get, give me another service code, Felicia.
T2021.
I'm writing them down so I won't have to ask you again.
That's day supports.
So they get respite, and maybe they get day supports. Just do day supports. And say they do day support, I'm going to give them 25 units. And your dates are already there. You can change them, or you can keep the dates the same. We look at that a year too, so we'll add that. So now we have our services in place. This is what we're going to be requesting. Any questions on that in the chat?
We don't have any.
Okay. After you add your services, this is when okay. I keep for, I was like, Lord, where's my document? I'm sorry, I'm talking to us internal staff. Not, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm doing so many trainings this week. So then you're going to put in your justification. So we got our services, and we have our diagnosis, we have our services, and now we got to put in the justification for the service. Your justification for service is always going to be web note. That's our communication back and forth is web note. Your date and time is always stamped in. And this is where you're going to put in, like you do in Alpha, you're just everything you put in for justification for the service. And you can go on and on and on. It has a spell check, bold, anything that you need as far as a word, word information. You just put in that service. Once you do that, you are pretty much done as far as this. We got one more thing. I know, don't I haven't forgot about documentation, but you are done with asking for your request. Once you completed the note and your justification, you're going to hit save. Once you hit save, that's going to take you back to the overview, and it's going to be up your top. Make sure before you save, I always say this, I always write my episode numbers down or my certificate or cert number down, because that's what's going to bring you back to if you ever get lost in the members overview or like, where did that go, what I just did? Because even though they say the last one is on top, we have seen in our testing that it's not always true. If somebody has something in draft or something pending or something like that, that does kind of fall to the beginning or up top. So make sure I always write down either my episode number or my cert number so I'll know. You'll have to go back in and always, unless you're ready to assign it to yourself, I don't assign it. That'll be a good question for your manager, how you want to do that. It's going to bring you back into the episode. This part right here is going to be for UM. It's nothing you can do on this end. It won't allow you to do anything. You have to operate on the right hand. These are where you make edits. If you want to add another note, if your diagnosis need to be added, if your provider stuff need to be added, you can do it here. But this is where you're going to add the documentation. To add documentation, you're going to click the add documentation. You're going to title it the innovation information, because I know y'all have packets. You can put in a description, like you can put what's in it, like SNAP, PCP. You can, whatever you want to let us know what's in this packet. Then you're going to hit the browse button that will take you to your documents. I just put in the SNAP for Jiva. Your date and time is already stamped, and you will save that document. Once you save that document successfully, it's added over here in your documents. As far as we know, and we hope so, that there is no file limit to these documents. I know Felicia and Sarah have tested this with innovation packages and they went in just fine. So hopefully that will help us, because I know Alpha, it gave you a limit. Jiva, it doesn't. So if you want to add more documents, let's just say you have that, but you need to add like their SNAP or their finance, you just go back in, add document, and you do the same thing. Maybe you're going to add a CCA, you go browse again, get your document, and you're going to save. Say you go in and say, oh, wait a minute, that's not the right person. I just saved somebody's information that's not even there. This is supposed to be for Pam, and you uploaded Donnie's information. You can go in and you can delete a record if you did something wrong or you uploaded the wrong document. You can view that document if you need to look at it and see it. You can just pull it up. And you can look at it to make sure that it's the right document.
Hey, Lakeisha,
Yes.
while you're paused here, there's a few questions that I wanted
Okay.
to kind of go over, if you don't mind. Is now a good time?
No, yeah.
Okay. One is I wanted, just for recording purposes, since this will be posted for future, for you all to use again, or future, employees who aren't with us yet to use again. Just so everyone knows, and Lakeisha probably, I apologize, I missed the beginning. Lakeisha probably explained at the beginning. Lakeisha does not work in innovations. You all know that. So, so she is showing you how to submit SARs. Some of the language she uses might be different, or how things are done a little bit. For example, Lindsay had asked about justification, and when Lakeisha was going through justification, as those of you who work in innovations know, the ISP is the justification, so you don't necessarily have to fill out that box. So like I said, I'm saying this for the recording purposes. If you're listening to this after the fact, just know if Lakeisha's saying something like justification or CCA and you're thinking, I was never trained on that, what are those things? Then just know that's Lakeisha just walking through some steps to show how to do attached documents, how to fill in boxes and stuff. But if the words are unfamiliar, then just be like, okay, she's just showing me how to fill out these boxes, and we'll know that Lakeisha doesn't know what she's talking about. So
That's right. I do not. When it comes to innovation, I'm so sorry. I do not know your language, and I apologize if I'm confusing you, but Sarah is right.
Can I just say this though? And where Lakeisha was talking about justification of medical necessity, we typically do see where the care managers do put in this section, they'll put annual ISP or a site change or a provider change. They'll put something to that extent so we'll know what it is.
Oh, okay. Okay. So keep with that, kind of like what you do in Alpha, keep with that
Right.
routine then. Yeah.
Yep, that note box is the same box you will put in when it says justification for service in Alpha. That note box is that same box. So whatever you custom to putting in there, that's what you will put in there for review.
Then Chris Ann had a question that I didn't fully understand. So Chris Ann, do you want to take yourself off mute and ask it?
Certainly. And this also may be just a difference between innovations and mental health services. But you stated put in the amount of units a week or a day. Are we going to continue doing our annual lump request of units? Or are we going to do it weekly?
Oh, no. You're going to do it, like you said, a year. I don't know how many units
That's fine.
people get
That's
for
fine.
the year.
And
Yeah,
then
go ahead.
One other question. Currently, if we're adding to a SAR that already exists, so we have a SAR, has 1,000 units of respite on it, and we've exhausted those, so we're extending that. We typically email the clinician. Are we going to do a new SAR now for billing purposes, or are we going to continue to email the clinician when there's already an open SAR with that exact service?
I think that's a Felicia question.
Yeah, that would
Tina-
be a Felicia.
Tina and I have already done established that process, and she should be sending something out to you guys if she hasn't already done so. About that request for it to have an existing authorization. Is that what you're talking about, Chris Ann?
Yes, that's what I'm speaking of.
Yeah.
And that's for us to continue our same processes that we have in place now.
Great. Thank you for clarifying.
And then again, so we have it for the recording purposes. How do you add a different provider under the same member? And Felicia answered that in the chat that you have to do a separate SAR if it's for different providers. You can, I think Lakeisha was showing you can do multiple services from the same provider on one SAR, but if it's a different provider, you've got to do a new SAR for that. And then Jean, do you want to come off mute? You said you asked if she could go back to something, but I missed what she was on when you asked that. So is there something you would like her to show again?
Yeah, Lakeisha lost me when she went from I'm trying to make my notes on these pages here, where she went through where you add in the type of service and the place of service, that section, and this the HIT codes. I do know you hit add when you want to add another service for the same provider. I got that part, but she lost me when she went from that part to the web note part.
Okay, well, I'm gonna walk through it one more time. So you stop. I mean, don't wait to the end. Like, I'm gonna ask in different sections if you understand, and let me know if you got it.
Okay.
Uh,
And I apologize, Lakeisha, my attention's been somewhat split.
that's all right. I've been in training all day, so I'm
I
one
know
of
you
those
have,
too.
I know,
So,
I know. Do you, I saw the last one was like 908-379. Did you
no, we
did you
did
do
the
one?
innovation.
Oh,
We
you
did
did.
the
Okay, okay.
it,
I just saw what
yeah.
was on the screen. That's why I was asking. Okay, thank you, thank
We
you.
did the S5150 respite.
Yeah, okay, great. Because I was going to say I practiced with some innovations codes yesterday, so I could give you some if you need them, but you got it covered.
Yep, Felicia gave us
And
some.
Rita just asked, and again, I'm just going to say it out loud since I'm on, and I'm going to put myself on mute and let Lakeisha go on. Is the copy SAR still going to be an option? It's not, and Lakeisha's going to show you why that is, because there's going to be a new thing called an extension. So,
Right. Okay, so let's start over again. We're gonna do a new episode. So when you go in again, you can go into the member search. You search the member however you need to. We're gonna use. I think this one goes through. Okay. So what we do is once you enter the members overview, the way that you add or you create a SAR or episode. Episodes is what Jiva language. SARs, of course, is what our O alpha language. You're going to add an episode. It's going to pull up the block of what episode type that you want to add. We're going to always go in behavioral health outpatient. When you click that, that's going to bring up your episode. You don't have to worry. This is just giving you information about what coverage they're in. You start at episode details. Date and time is already stamped for you. Anything with a red asterisk is what you have to fill out. This is going to be a initial. We're going to do standard because we have 14 days to process. Your assigned is going to be the innovations work list, not an individual. The innovation work list. Again, I just put things in that is helpful. The reason for the request is for treatment. You don't have to put anything, it's not a red asterisk, but any information you do have will be great. Then you're gonna scroll any information about the episode details or any questions. We're good?
We're good.
Somebody just.
I just have
Go ahead.
one
Go ahead,
question.
Lakeisha. We're good.
Okay.
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I have one question. When you say pre-certification, you said you keep saying initial. So when I'm thinking initial, I'm thinking about an initial ISP. So are
No,
you saying initial?
this is an initial request, like the first request. We know we have initials, we have reauthorizations. This is going to be an initial request. I don't know what
Okay.
an initial I don't know what that is. I'm sorry, Felicia, you might can explain that.
It gets a little confusing with innovations. Tina, are you on
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, so it could be for people that's initial to the and new to the waiver, and this is the first time you're requesting a service, or it could be someone you've been serving for a couple of years, and this is their first time getting supported employment, for example.
Right.
That's an initial request.
It's your initial service request.
First time getting a service.
Yes.
I'm sorry, this is Denise, but I have a question on that. For our very first run at Jiva, won't everything start as an initial because we don't have existing like in Alpha, we copy, right? We copy to create a new request. In Jiva, you have to have an active initial in there to build a reauthorization request on, correct? So wouldn't everything first run
No.
the initial?
Your first time running in Jiva, if you're doing like a reauth, they already have the service and it's time for like a reauthorization, but it's your first time putting it in Jiva, you're gonna submit it under concurrent because it's a concurrent request. Your pre-certification is a very new service. So your first run through, you are going to have a concurrent because they already getting the service.
Okay, but we can't follow the reauth process unless there is an active authorization already in Jiva, right? Because we're still having to kind of create things from scratch.
Up to this part
Hey,
here.
Denise.
Is that what? I mean, I'm
They,
sorry, I don't know if I'm making sense.
No,
IT
their
has
stuff,
already.
their
Go ahead,
stuff is going to
Lakeisha.
be up in, yeah, their stuff is going to be in Jiva.
When you say their stuff is going to be in Jiva, are you saying the SARs from Alpha is going to be showing in Jiva?
They should be, all that stuff should be coming from Alpha. If it's not, then it's still in Alpha. We still have your Alpha is not going away. Alpha is still there. We're just submitting things now in Jiva. That should be coming over. I don't know how that's going to look because it's going live. We all going to be looking at that. But what I'm saying is, it's not, if they're already receiving this service and you're just getting it into Jiva from Alpha, it's just getting into Jiva. It's going to be a concurrent unless it's a brand new authorization.
So it's possible when I go in through member search,
Yes.
and I load my clients, I see all of my cogwheels. For example, I see one for case management where I do all my data entry. And then I might see one for provider XYZ for day supports. And I might see one for provider QRS for CLS. So do I click on the existing episode to go and upload this stuff if there's one already in there
you
for
gotta
that provider?
No, the information is there, not the episodes are not there. Your information is there, but your episodes are not. You have to create these episodes the first time. Then when you go back in, then I'll show you how to do extensions for reauthorizations.
Okay, so
I'm gonna show you those.
we cannot extend anything that's already in Jiva. We are starting from new, whether we're
because they're
submitting a
not in
concurrent
Jiva.
or a pre-cert.
Yeah,
every
they're not in Jiva yet. That's what we're doing. We're putting them in Jiva. They're in Alpha. The information, and that's why I said if they already have, unless they're saying something different, Felicia. I know this is you all might be doing something different, and that might be a supervisory question. But I know for us, for behavioral health, we are putting them in. If they already have an authorization, we're putting them in as concurrent because it's a concurrent. It's not a new service. They've been getting the service. We put them in as concurrent, but we have to put them in the system because they're not in Jiva. So we put them in as concurrent. The only things that we're doing is pre-certification, which would be this one if this is the first time they get in the service.
You're correct, Lakeisha.
Okay. That's what I was thinking. Okay. So we'll just say it doesn't, we'll change, we'll say it's, they just to say we're entering, they've been getting the service for 10 years for now. So we're going to put it in as a concurrent. It's still standard. And it's still signed to the work list. So most of yours coming in that you all are going to be doing is probably going to start out as concurrent unless it's a brand new service they have not gotten. Then we'll go down to the diagnosis. Go ahead. I'm just clicking whatever the diagnosis is. Again, you can start date that diagnosis when they with their CCA to coincide with the CCA. If you need to take one out, that's where this minus is. The one that's in the highlighted is your primary. Once you have your episode details in your diagnosis, you're going to save and continue. You know you're correct when it moves on. And it will bring you, when it moves on, it will bring you up to the providers. And I'm going to try, let me see if it'll go through. Let's see. I was might be spelled, Felicia spell, is it Lindley?
Lindley. Habilitation.
Lindley.
Habilitation.
Let's
Service.
see.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's see. All right. Well, they got a lot in theirs too. So here's one in Greensboro. We're working with that one. So we're going to do multiple attached. 1, 2. Because we have to have a servicing and a billing. So one is going to be billing, one is servicing. They're in network. And we're going to add those to the episode, SAR. Any questions about the provider part? Adding your provider.
Lakeisha, did
Mhm.
you say that there will not be site IDs? We'll just have like this line item, Lindley Habilitation, and the address?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what you will have. And the site IDs is by the address. Let me look at something.
Lakeisha, someone has asked, can the billing and servicing sites be different? And yes, they can.
Yes. Yes. Because some people billing is out of like their main location site. The billing is coming out of that, but the servicing is at like a secondary site. So yeah. So now we're in requesting our service. It's going to be innovations. That's your service type. Again, place of service is not something that we have to have. And it was a question about the code types that people didn't understand. So code type is always default to CPT. These codes typically start with a number, like a assessment, like a 90837. That's an assessment. Our
Lakeisha, probably for
inpatient.
them, psychological evaluations would be the most common
Okay.
CPT codes. So
Okay.
yeah, so think psychological evaluations.
Go because it starts with a number, and I think that's what 96 something. If it comes up. Okay, so like here's some psychologicals. And you can type in too, like words. So like somebody might do a psychological, you might need a psych though. So that would be considered a CPT code because it starts with the service code starts with a number. If the service code starts with a letter, then it's usually going to be what we call the HITS-PITS codes. And those are going to be your, like we said, your respite, or
All of the innovation ones will be hit
day
speed.
support. What would it be?
All of the innovation ones will be Hicks codes because all of them start with a letter.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, there you go. That would be your thing. Like say if you put in like because it's gonna default to CPT. I don't, I think that's just how it's default in Jiva. That's what it is for us as well. Say you're there and you're trying to put in the code, it's gonna tell you if you see this no records found, or it won't pull like a drop down or anything, that's going to tell you like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? The first thing I would do is change that to HitPix and then put it in and see if it'll go through. Because that's usually what it is. And then put in your respite. How many units that people get for respite is what you will put in here. I'm just putting in a number, whatever you usually they can get. And your service day is the date that you want the service to start. And of course, your end date is the date that you want your service to end. And then you're adding that service. And you can go back in and put in another service. Or if they only get that service, then you're done. So somebody had originally had a question about the HitPix and the service codes. Did I answer that this time?
I
There's
think
no new
so,
comments,
Lakeisha.
Lakeisha, so I'd say yes.
Okay. Once you add your service definition, this is where you put in, I'm sorry, I'm not innovation taught. So this is where you would where you usually, whatever you would have put in a justification for service, your SNAP information, whatever you put in there, that's what you will put here. Okay, once you're done, and I'm gonna show y'all an easier way so you don't have to go find it. That you're pretty much submitting your request. So any questions before I go out to talk about other than documentations, anything else that any questions or anything that needs to be explained before I save it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I can barely hear you. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't know if my speaker, can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. I just want to, if you could go back one more time to attaching, I think it's the services again. And I think someone said something about the way we do it now versus the way if it's not site specific, like they have a whole lot of sites. One is billing, one is service. So are we having to pick the main billing office, if you will, for the provider where they bill out of first, I guess? And then if it's a day program, we need to add that site as well. I'm a little, with because before it was site specific and all that. So I'm just trying to, I don't know if I heard that part. If we don't have to worry about that anymore. Do we need just to
No,
pick where the
only thing that you need to know is where they bill from, what site they bill from, which is your billing,
okay.
and what site or their service is going to be performed out of or done out of. That's what you have to have.
And the
So,
billing is the most important one.
right,
The billing is the most important one to get right.
because they got to get paid.
Okay, so this is an example. I have a provider. Okay, so she gets, I'm going to say respite and CLS. Okay, but they bill both of those services out of two different sites. They bill.
You can add another site.
And is that what we need to do?
You can add another servicing site.
Okay, so if we know that they're billing up from two different sites, then we need to make sure that those are in there, is my question, I guess.
Right. But you got to make sure that it matches the service codes, yes. So if they're doing respite at a one site and maybe personal care at a different site, you can add that site. You can add the servicing.
Okay.
But you just got to make sure that the billing is the right billing, wherever they're billing from.
Lakeisha, can you add another servicing site and show them?
Yep. So we did the Greensboro site. So they might be doing the personal care out of Greensboro and of this site, which is Greensboro, and they might be doing another one in Clemens. So what you'll do is you'll just do a multiple attach so you can change it. And you're going to say they're servicing out of that site and it's in network. So you want to attach that to the service. So they have a servicing from that site as well. So wherever they're being serviced, you can add that site. Wherever they're providing the service, wherever the service is being provided, that site can be added. The main thing you have to have is at least one servicing and at least one billing.
So let me understand this, Lakeisha. If they are getting residential, that would be the servicing site on the residential supports. And then if they bill at a corporate office under the same, like Monarch, they provide residential, but that will come out of the corporate office billing site. Am I correct to say that you'll have a servicing site and the corporate office as the billing site?
Wherever they bill, yeah. However, let me just say this because you said Monarch. Now, if it's a service code that they're getting from Lindley and it's a service they're getting from Monarch, those are two different episodes you have to put in. You can't put both of them on the same episode.
True, because they're
okay,
different.
I just want to make sure you know it because when you said Monarch, I just want to make sure that you understand it. You can't do two different providers. These are the same providers, but just different sites.
Exactly.
So, okay, I just want to make sure. Yes, you're correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Lakeisha, we have a couple people with their hands up. It is very helpful if you can put your questions in the chat. Tammy, do you have a question that's too complicated for the chat?
We can't hear her if she on mute. Tammy,
Yeah.
you on mute.
All right, how about now?
Yes,
we can
I
hear
can hear
you.
you.
Okay, when you were going in and putting the effective dates, I was saying one that you had down there on the 23rd or whatever, it might have been even what today's date is. But if the plan, do we put in when the plan starts, like on 4/1, even if we're doing it in March? Or
Yes.
if we're doing so.
Yes, your start date is the date the service start. Yes.
Okay,
No,
because
that's
I
right.
was seeing,
Innovation that's right. We can change it to 4/1. Yeah. It could be your start date is 4/1 and the end date could be a year later,
which would be
is
3/31.
yes, right. That's right, Tammy.
Okay,
Yep.
I just
There
wanted
it
to
is.
make sure.
Yeah, whatever the start date is. Yes. You put that's what this will be. When you want this service to start and then when you want it to end. Yep.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, there's two more hand raised. We'll go through those, and then I really am going to ask you to put your questions in the chat, please. Chris
Okay.
Ann?
So my question or my statement is in the chat, and you started to address it when you added a site, but so in fact, I have a individual who receives services at Lindley. They go to the Lindley Day program in Alamance County, but the rest of their Lindley services are built out of the Beechwood address. How, after you add these additional sites, like you added the Clemens one, how do we know which episode or service is attached to which one? Because I think that's part of where we're having issues here.
I don't, does it matter for you all or is that a bill and that would be finance, right? As long as it's like an alpha, as long as it's there, finance will be able to bill it as long as it's connected.
Well, see, in Alpha right now, we pick essentially the corporate header originally, but then under each individual service, we are able to pick an additional site. So here we're adding the service site and then the billing. And then I'm confused about how the episode / formerly known as SAR, how we know it's attached to which site.
I don't think that's the thing I'm saying, Kristen. I think as long as they see that they have once the provider goes to bill, as long as that's in there, like I said, in Jiva, then I think that they're fine. It's kind of like our all services. I don't know if y'all use that.
We do.
Oh, okay, it's just like all services. As long as whatever service code that they build, as long as that site and that billing site and that service site is in there, then they'll be fine. I don't think you know what I mean? As long as it's in there, then they can bill and they can process through it. I mean, they can bill it and it may be processed. What's going to hold it up is if they process a code or a service code and that service or that billing site is not in there correctly, then that's when they're going to have an issue. But on Jiva, I don't think as long as all of them are listed, I don't think it matters for us. I mean,
So all
unless
that
I'm wrong,
matters-
Felicia, because Felicia might understand it more so than me.
I I don't. And I think that, like this technical stuff, like we're just trying to focus today on just how to submit an episode and all this. And I think some of this other stuff we're probably gonna have to work out later.
Or work out with IT people, because we're just
Yes.
showing you how to submit.
Yeah.
I'm
with
just telling you,
network
I
and
don't, Kristen,
finance
I
and
really don't
IT.
think it matters to me, me doing this. I really don't think, as long as you have all your sites in for that provider and you have the correct billing for that service, wherever they doing the service, I think, I really think it doesn't matter. Or it's already, like I'm saying, that they're already all attached to this one episode. Everything is attached to the episode, so they will see it as long as it matches, as long as it's there.
Okay, I hope you're right.
But
Perfect.
somebody from finance probably can explain it a little bit better. But
And I plan on reaching out to finance to find out about the billing and the service site before we go live.
yeah, that's something that they might have to continue. I'm just telling you, on the facts of submitting to us, it has to be a billing, at least one billing and one service to be able to submit a request. How that looks and what you supposed to pick and how to pick it, yeah, finance probably will be able to explain it better for the billing purpose.
And I did talk to Liz some about this, and my understanding, but Tina, I think it's wise for you to still reach out to finance. My understanding is really the important one is the billing. That if you don't have every servicing site on there and such, that it's not the end of the world, or if the servicing site's incorrect. But that was my understanding. My understanding's been incorrect many times throughout this process. So like I said, Tina, I think it's wise you're going to reach out to finance, and hopefully we can all get an answer.
Right. All right. Anything else before this is submitted? Okay. If not, you can submit this because it's internal. So you can submit this as save and review. It's fine. It'll be easier for you guys to do it that way. I'm going to show you can save and review, because it'll take you straight to the part where you can add the documentation. Now, you're not going to be, it's really for us, for UM, you're not going to be able to review it, of course. You can't touch anything on this side, as far as it won't let you. Even if you click in it, well, I can review it because I'm internal, but it won't let you do it as you do it. So, what you can do is concentrate on adding your document. Again, if you want to add another note, everything on this right side you can edit. Even though we submitted it, you still can edit. You can edit your note. If you want to do a note, you can edit the diagnosis, you can edit the billing, your provider stuff. The only thing you can't edit or do at this point is change you can't edit any authorization dates or units. If that happens, if you say, oh, I submitted that and it's the incorrect units, then that's when you would need to make a note to the reviewer or reach out to them and they can make edits on their end. So here is where you add your documents. Again, documents, you just add the document. What
The private said there's chunks of onion in this, so he doesn't want to eat it.
No, that's not how it works, Kenny. You need to be
sorry?
appreciative. What we got here, is that hummus?
I don't know who that is.
That's not like the hitchhiker gets like just that onion. And so what is
I'm
that?
trying to find it and I'll mute them.
Okay. So again, we want to add your, I know y'all have packets. I've heard they're pretty big. So your innovation packet goes here. Again, you can say what's in it. The PCP, CCA, whatever's in it. You can just list the description, what's in it. Again, if you don't have to put anything in that box, it's just helpful for the reviewer to know what they're looking at. Then you'll go in, you'll grab that packet. It will show here, and then you'll save. And you can do this many times. Go in, grab it, save. If you need to take it out, you can delete it. You can look at it just to make sure you got everything in it. Whatever you want to do, you can, you can view that document. Or you can delete it. And there, innovation peeps, this is, you have submitted an episode. Sarah, can you process that for me?
I sure will. Are you gonna refresh now?
Yeah, it's you got
Oh
the
yeah, let me write it
number?
down. Yeah, let
You
me write
did?
it down. No, no, I haven't written it down. Let me write it down.
Okay.
Oh, where is the number?
It's right here.
Letitia.
23.
Oh yeah, I see it. 2303. Is that 4 zeros or 3? 3 zeros.
3. 7
7 0. Okay. Yep.
All right. All right. So, oh, let me show you this. So, working in Jiva, you really want to. This is your refresh because, as you can see, we've been working in it for about an hour. When you refresh, everything updates. You might have, a new. You want to refresh so because you might get a note from a reviewer asking for corrections or asking for clarification of an authorization. So you always want to kind of keep your um, site updated. Also, I think in the overview, yeah, we talked about your memory list. We've been working in a couple of different ones. So just say, oh, wait a minute, let me go back to that review. And then you can, add a note or you can do anything. It's just right where you don't have to go all the way to the menu and look up that person. I'm going to close all and release all so that Sarah can process that. I don't know why that one wouldn't release. Okay, there we go. I told you that cert number and I didn't write it down, Sarah.
Do you need it?
Yes.
It's 230. 3000 70.
Got it. Okay. All right. Any questions? Right now I'm going to show you. Go ahead.
Somebody asked, what about uploading a correction? Like if they need to go back to that episode and upload a new packet or something.
Yep. What you'll do is you'll go back to that episode. That's why I said always that number that I gave Sarah, always if I was there, anyone, I would keep, anytime I do a request, I would keep that cert number, because if y'all know, going to, uh, when y'all go into a member's overview, I think I've been working on, we just did, I think we just did Pam. I think it was her name. You know, their episodes get long. You see how long these episodes is? A lot of episodes that member can have. And this doesn't give you, it gives you a lot of information, but it doesn't give you a lot to know what, you know, which one did I do, what date. It'll give you a, you know, like a start date, but I still would want to know which one I did, because this is a lot. You can do a lot in a day. So those numbers, the numbers that I always write down is this certain number, and you can also write down the episode ID number. Either one of these will take you straight to that authorization. I was trying to wait for Sarah to.
It's done. It's done.
Okay, it's done. Good.
Yep.
So when you know, if you know that cert number, you can go to the member search, click on the cert number here, put in the number 230370. What you're gonna do, that's gonna bring up what we just did. That's our innovation. So say you want to add, somebody asks you want to add a document. So what you do is you'll just pull it up. It'll bring it up by that cert number. You just go over to documents and you add, if the UN reviewer said, can you upload this, or I need this document, you just go right into that episode and you add it. If it's SNAP or whatever they're asking you, you just browse, you upload it, and then you just save it and it will upload. Did that answer the question of how to upload?
Yes, you did. You did. And
Okay.
you, another question was, did you hit save when you attached the document? So they saw that you did hit save. So thank you,
Yes.
Lakeisha.
You're welcome. Yes. All right. So say, okay, it's time for someone to do what we call a concurrent or reauthorization. Um, they have, it's been a year. We want to continue the service. So what you do now is you will pull up that member. Again, it's good to have those cert numbers. You'll pull up that member. This is what we did, innovations. This is how you know when it's been processed. This is what it will look like. That's your innovations. That's the service code. Those are the date, and this is the decision. It's been approved. Criteria approval. These are your dates. Your start date, your end date. And these are your units. So now we want to do a reauthorization. So what we'll do is we'll click in, and in Jiva, they don't call it a reauthorization, even though they said concurrent on that other one. They don't call it concurrent either. What they call it is an extension. What they saying that you're extending your authorization. You're not starting, or you're extending. So what you would do is you would click on extension. And when you click on extension, it's really good information, because it will show you all the original authorization. It'll give you how many units you had requested previously, and it will give you your start and end date, which is really good, because now we want to continue this. Even though we received it, this is already date and time is already stamped. We're doing a concurrent, because it say continue on. That will automatically make it a standard 14 days. And then you add your units. This year they're gonna get the same units. We're gonna do 25. Your start date, I'm gonna do like what Tammy told me to do. Because it's a year later. I forgot. Innovations always start on the 1st. And it's going to end. We are going 2 years out, guys. See, it won't even let you put it in until you. A year out would be March the 31st, 2025. So there's our new start, the new start date, our new end date, because we're extending this. This is our units. And I have to take this out because again, y'all, I'm UM. We're not making a decision. That's for UM to do. And once you put this in, that's all. All you're doing now is saving it. When you save it, it's going to take you right back to like we did before, because we already have our providers. You know, those are in. This is where you make your edit. This is again, when you get right back here, is where you add the new documentation. This is any updates. PCP. This is the this is the update PCP or update packet, whatever you usually submit for your your reauthorizations or extensions is what we call. You put the new information in now and you save. Oh, I didn't put anything in. Make sure you put the document in and you save. And so the new everything that's will be up top. So it'll go from old to new. So this is the most recent, and it'll tell the dates when it was added. Of course, we're doing everything in one day, but this will also tell you when the document was received and what date it was added. So that will let us know that that's the new. That would know the reviewer knows this one is the new one that we have to look at. So we can open it up and look at it and review it. The UN reviewer can. That's all you have to do for an extension. You have did a reauthorization. As you can see over here, it says extension. It tells you that it's in. It's innovation. Here's the service code. It hasn't made a decision yet, but that's what we're waiting on. That tells you that we have our reauthorization or extension in. Any questions on that? Y'all
We
don't like
did.
the extensions. I think
I know
this is easy.
Yeah, I know. The extensions are a lot easier. Someone did just want to clarify that this is how they do concurrence, and I put in the chat. Yes, this is how concurrence are
Yep.
done.
This is how concurrence are done. Yep. I know these are going to be easy. Y'all going to go in and ask for the extension. Let me do. I know I didn't write down that last one I did, and I don't
Can
know
you
why.
show what you clicked on to do the extension, Lakeisha?
You click in. You're going to click in that request, that initial. When you click it in, like just say it's time for it. Okay, we're in 2025, guys.
Lakeisha, do you want me to process that one and then you do another extension and show it again?
Oh, you can if you want.
Yeah. Do you have a number for it?
What's the same cert number?
Oh,
Yeah.
Look, I should know that. Okay, thank you.
But to get to the extension, I just want to show you. She's going to process it. I'm going to go out so she can get it, process it. When you hit the button, wherever you at, whatever you want to extend, this is the extension is right here. So you'll hit that and you'll go into an extension. Let me go back out because in order for her to process it, I have to clear everything on my end. Okay, I cleared everything. Sarah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. So I know someone asked a question and now I can't find it.
That's all right.
And and I said, I'll have Lakeisha show you that. Oh, can we print an auth letter? Can you show them while I process that? Can you show them how to print an auth letter?
Yes, you can. I don't know why I don't have innovation word list on. Okay, let me do this. Okay. I was trying to find the one I did other than Pam. Okay. So how to print, let me go back to that one. Okay, let me go back to that cert. Okay, so we're looking for this. So when you're at the members overview, you find that cert number or wherever, which one that we processed that you want to print out the authorization. You'll go to the action wheel and you will go to view episode abstract. Once you click on that, this will give you all the information about the SAR, and this is how you print it. It's printable. So that will tell you the member, that will tell you the cert number and the episode number. That will help you keep up with it. It will tell you what reviewer processed it. It met medical necessity. These are the diagnosis. It gives you all the information, your provider information. And it tells it here that this one was approved. You know, we hadn't approved the extension yet, but this one is approved. And it shows what documents were uploaded. So this is all your information about that episode, and it does give you your decision. And all you do is have to go here and go to printable view, and that will bring it up for you to print right there. So again, when you're in the member overview and you find which one that you need to be printed or need information, you'll go into the cycle and you do view episode abstract.
Can they just save it once they open it up?
Yeah, when you go to print up, when you do printable view and you go to print, you can, it's like you can save it as a PDF on your computer. So if I want to just save it, you can print it or say, my is not hooked up to a printer, so it automatically goes to save as a PDF file. If yours is like destined to a printer, what you'll do, your destination, you'll change it to save as a PDF file. When you hit save, then it will let you name it and then you can save it.
Lakeisha, do you want to clear your
Yeah.
or refresh, and I can approve it real quick?
I'm sorry.
You're fine. No, you're fine.
I was trying to not go back in there. We should be good, Sarah.
Yep, I got it. I'll do it real quick.
Okay. So while Sarah is going in and doing that, I'm gonna show the extension again. Any overall, Felicia, while she's doing that, any other question came up?
We've answered all of them. Thank you.
Oh, well, good. Good. See, y'all gonna be ready Saturday. I don't know if anybody's gonna work Saturday, so I should say Monday. We're just waiting on Sarah to process, and then I'm gonna bring it up and show the extension again. I think I had.
Okay, you should be good.
All right. So again, we're going into member search, picking up that cert number. All right, we know this extension has been processed because we can go over and look. And to do the extension again, say, okay, we're back at it again. We are in 2025. It's time to, we want to do the same thing. We're going to click on this extension because that was the initial.
Lakeisha, sorry. As you're doing this extension, can you do like a change in units or just do something that's
Yep.
going to be different from the last one? Thank you.
Yep. Okay, we can do that. So we're going to click in again, the one we're extending this one. We're going to click in extension. Again, the date and time is already stamped. We're changing it, of course, to concurrent because it's ongoing. This will automatically populate. And then say, okay, they've been doing 25 units for 2 years. Let's say they've been doing good, and we're gonna go down to 19 units this time. And your start date is going to be, Lord, we way out. It's going to be April the 1st, 2026. And the end date, and just say this is, and I know y'all do a year, but maybe y'all do it for 6 months. We'll do this one for 6. You can change these end dates. Your end date is whatever the authorization say. So we'll say, well, this is gonna go for 6 months this time. And we'll go to the end. But you know, whatever you all custom to the end date and start date, you can change. This is where you change your units. You can modify your end dates. You have to unclick. If this is click, you have to unclick decision because that's for for us, because we can go in and make a decision that quick. Once you do that, you're just going to save. And here's your new, go ahead.
I was just going to say, can you clarify that if the provider has changed and if the sites have changed on an extension?
If the provider has changed or the site has changed, then you will have to go and edit over here. So you would, if the diagnosis is the same, you know, this is where you will upload, you remember all the new, the new, for, I'm gonna say this is the one for 2026, because I think that's where we are. This is the new information. And you save that. So that's it. If something's changed with the provider, then you'll have to attach it here. So you will go back to your provider.
But I believe if it's a different provider, you'll have to do a new request.
Oh, if it's a whole different provider for that service, you'll have to go in as an initial. It won't be an extension for this. Yeah, thank you, Sarah. I'm sorry, Felicia. Okay.
Yeah, but no, she asked both. So if it's just a site change,
if it's just a site change with the same provider, then you will go in and attach that, add that site. You would just go in and say, oh, now Lord, I gotta go in. Now they are seen at MedView. Now they're being seen here.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll go in and it's a servicing, unless it's the billing has changed. It's a servicing in network, and you would just attach it. Now you have another site attached to it. If they change in providers, then you'll have to go in and do an initial request for that new provider. Then it won't be an extension. It would be an initial for that provider.
Thanks for clarifying, Lakeisha.
You're welcome. So everything is done, like I said, you can do edits on the right side. Everything here can be edited. You could add a note. If you want to go and just ask, talk with the reviewer, if it's, you can do that by add a note. And if you want to follow up, I know we do email because we're internal, but If you want to follow up on anything, you want to ask the UM something, you can select that. Make sure you select that it's a sensitive. If you want to kind of keep it, private or whatever, like no outside people won't see it, then you can do sensitive note. It's up to you guys. But
Yeah.
this is
Sorry,
this part
Lakeisha.
on the
Sorry, Lakeisha. Can you go back to the notes for a second?
Yeah.
All right. So, as Lakeisha was saying, it says sensitive note. So because you've chosen providers, the providers will be able to see these authorizations, and we are unsure, but they will be able to see your notes. So if you have notes that you don't want them to see related to this, please mark that sensitive note.
Yeah.
So even though you're the one submitting it, the provider on the provider portal end, they'll be able to see your notes attached to that SAR. Unless you click that sensitive note, then they won't be able to see it.
Right. Yeah. And it's the same.
Felicia. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Oh, you
Lakeisha.
fine. See, I was just going to show what it would say. It will, if it's a sensitive note, this is what it would look like. It will have this little triangle thing to show that it's sensitive. You see that? That's how you would know. If you want to look at all notes that's going back and forth, because this page will only show you the most recent note, but if you want to see them all, like go through, because you're gonna be, y'all have an ongoing with these, because innovation, they're gonna be there for years. You can always go into view episode notes, and this will be all your notes. So you'll be able to see, and then you can, like I said, this wheel is action. So you can view, like if it's not everything, like if it's a long lengthy, it's going to give you just a little bit. So if you want to view the whole note, then you can just view the note and you'll see like all of it. And you can print those out as well.
Felicia, someone has asked, is the note section where we would request to increase or reduce units with an active auth? And that's a Felicia and Tina question, I think. So I'm gonna let you take it, Felicia.
No. I'm gonna copy the process that we have for an existing authorization. I'm getting ready to paste it in here, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have submitted, we have did an extension, which is a reauthorization. We have showed you how to print that out. Is there anything else you all think you all need to be shown to be able to start to submit requests as of Monday?
I don't see any more right now in the chat, Lakeisha.
Well, that's good. I am available. If anybody has, I might direct you if it's a internal question about process of what, what I mean, units, how do you do that? I might not be able to answer that, but if it's a process, if you get stuck trying to submit something, you get in a message or anything like that, feel free to message me, email me, my extension. I can put that in the chat. What my extension is, feel free to call me. I'm here to assist if however I can, if I can answer the question to help you get through it. But if there's nothing else, unless Tina or I don't know if Sarah, Tina, anybody, did I miss anything that you all can think of?
Nothing I can think of.
Now I can think of.
Nope. I think you was very thorough, Lakeisha.
Thank
Great job.
you. And I just put my name, my extension. Of course, you can find me if you want to email me or call me. I am a 389. I should have said that. I'm in Greensboro. I'm out of Greensboro, so. Well, if you need anything Monday to whenever y'all start to submit, just if you need something from me, just reach out. I know I'm gonna be available for everybody on I know it's gonna be busy on Monday, so. If nothing else, I'll stop the recording.
And
And-
as Lakeisha stops the recording, this doesn't need me on the recording. Lakeisha and I have been also training providers, and as we've told the providers,